Mexicana in Campo 101 in the Swift colony. How did you get connected with the Cruz Roja?
Okay, about 5 years ago, I'm not sure, 5-6 years ago, this building was built. So I'd always dreamt of being a doctor, so I figured this was one step closer.
Yeah.
And you can't enter before you're 18, so the year that I found out that I would be turning 18 during taking the course, I entered. I had some friends that had taken this one already before from Kauai, so.
Yeah.
Besides, I always passed here, so it was always my dream to go here as soon as I was old enough.
Yeah. And so what's your current level of certification, and how'd you get certified?
It's called TUM Básico. It's an EMT basic in English.
Yeah.
And we did it over here in this delegación, whatever. It was a second generation. They have only passed 2 generations here in 101. The first one, where I told you some of my friends went. And the second one, that would be me, that's where I was in. And it took 10 months.
Yeah.
And then we were certified as
yeah.
EMT basics.
And what was a little bit of that process like? You did some book work, and then what was the...
Yeah, they gave us a manual that had over 1,000 pages. And because I did not understand Spanish very well at the time I entered. So it was extremely difficult for me.
Yeah.
I was always a straight A student in school, so that it wasn't that hard, but the Spanish was very hard. So I ordered the same book in English, and then we had to read that book, and we had to do practices. Yeah. Every weekend, some theoretical and some practice.
Yeah.
10 months, and then we had to go to Chihuahua to write the final exam, and we were done.
Yeah. And what did the practicum part of that look like?
They made it very special for us. They had someone from Mexico City train some of their other paramedics here how to make wounds. So we had a lot of real people with wounds that looked very real. And they gave us drills like you have 10 minutes to get this patient to the hospital or whatever, to the ambulance. So it was very real. It was not just in the behind a desk, a teacher explaining how you would do it.
Yeah. You had a lot of hands-on.
The adrenaline went rushing just like if you went on a real call. So
yeah, absolutely.
So we had that a lot, that if it was trauma, they would put them in vehicles, put wounds on them. If it was sick people, they would ask them to pretend a lot so that that was much more real for us. So I'm very grateful for that. If it hadn't been for that, I don't think the school would have helped so much.
So here at the station, what are your primary responsibilities?
I was a volunteer until beginning of this year, and then I started working here full time. And I drive the ambulance. Like I have my own ambulance that I have to take care of. And when there's a call, we divide it. Like I go, my partner goes, I go, my partner goes. In the night, we always go together. Yeah. So I have to take care of that unit. I have to clean it, keep it clean, check the air and the tires and the oil and everything. So that was quite new for me. But and then I have to be ready to go on call by myself. If I do need help, if it's a critical case, he does help me. Yeah. So, but besides that, just minor cases, I have to be ready to go alone.
And what kind of calls do you typically get?
A lot more clinical cases than traumatic cases. I would say a lot with heart problems, chest pains, some with difficulty breathing, some with APOC, how do you call it? It's chronically, I'm not sure how it's in English, but chronically lung diseases like bronchitis.
Oh, okay,
smoking.
Yeah, for sure.
So a lot of lung diseases, a lot of stomach pains, like that we were not sure what's going on. And I have been in very few cases with trauma. It's mostly clinical ones.
Yeah, absolutely. And so primarily like going, checking and seeing, and then in how many cases out of those do you end up doing transfers to, let's say, like Cuauhtemoc or Chihuahua?
Chihuahua, it's very little. Very few that we do, maybe a few a month. To Cuauhtemoc, it's a whole lot. There are some cases where they're having a nervous breakdown, how should I say?
Yeah, for sure.
Something like that, or it's just a minor case and we can treat it. We treat it there. And they have to sign a paper that they're okay with not being transferred, or some of them don't want to be transferred. I would say maybe 20% that we just treat in the home, and the others that we do transport.
Go to Cuauhtemoc.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so being multilingual is an asset in your line of work. What language do you do most of your interactions in here at work?
It's definitely an asset. I do mostly in Spanish because the training I had in Spanish, my coworkers are mostly Spanish.
Yeah.
And most of the patients we treat are Spanish.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I have to speak mostly Spanish.
Mostly Spanish.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so you said the majority of people are Mexican, Spanish-speaking people. What kind of interactions do you have with people from Mennonite communities?
We do transport some of them, they're just like everybody else. They get sick too. I feel like I can connect with them much better.
Yeah, for sure.
Like if they are having, just recently I was on a call where the lady asked me, "Is there hope for my sickness?" So I can't answer that because I don't know what kind of sickness she has.
Yeah.
But in Spanish, I would not know what to do. I would just sit there awkwardly, try to utter a few words of comfort. But if it's a German speaking, I feel like I can talk to them much better.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or I had a lady with a small girl that was having seizures, and she was really worried. And it's much easier to communicate to them in German than it is in Spanish. I really hope I get that good at Spanish someday because
absolutely.
I have coworkers that are able to do it very well in Spanish, and it's definitely my goal.
Yeah. How do you feel that your Spanish has improved since working here at the station and then volunteering before that with the Cruz Roja?
It has improved drastically. I honestly learned most of it when I was taking the course. I was able to get along with Mexicans, with Spanish-speaking people, but that I would be able to have a conversation with them would be much more since I entered here. It's improved drastically. Yeah.
Absolutely. And so when the calls come in here, do they come directly to you or to a dispatch or?
We have a cell phone number, a local cell phone number that most of the people around here have. That's mostly how they call us. But they also, if they do call 911, it takes much longer at first. It goes through, I don't know how many, I think it goes directly to Mexico City if I'm correct. So they first have to make calls till Cuauhtemoc, until here. It takes much longer.
And then they kind of transfer them to the local location.
They tell them their location, then they can send the nearest unit. But it takes much longer than if we have a local cell phone number. Almost everybody around here has it.
Yeah, for sure.
If they don't have it, a friend or a family has it.
And so getting those calls here and taking them in Spanish, I'm sure at the beginning that was very stressful.
Yes, I'm just starting to take them. I haven't taken them for very long, but I do take them, and often it is at night. So then,
for sure.
So then I'm asleep, and when I answer the phone, I just now you gotta understand this in Spanish, and it's very difficult just waking up. No.
Yeah,
gotta
absolutely.
think and answer and speak in Spanish.
Yeah.
But it has gotten much easier.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And then when you're on shift, you kind of the go-to person for anybody who calls in, like a German-speaking person.
Yeah, like most German people do speak Spanish enough to tell us what they need. If it is a lady that does not speak Spanish very well, there has been cases where they just bring us the cell phone and then we talk to them.
Yeah, for
we
sure.
have a cell phone here where they.
Yeah. And so what have your interactions been like here at work with, like you were saying, particularly women in traditional communities who speak only German?
Yeah, I would say most of the German people that I have transported, I only work here 2 days a week, so it could be different for the rest of the days. Yeah. But most of them have been women. Maybe they ask me, I don't know if they set it up that way, but I really enjoy it because I can talk to them, and I feel like I relate to them more than